All right. Welcome everyone to the fundraising and sponsors workshop. If you don't want to be here, you want to be here because raising money is the way you can do. Oh my God. Okay. If you don't raise money, you can't build a robot. It doesn't matter if you have the best engineers in the world, the best programmers, and the best design team. If you don't have the money and the sponsors and the funding to support you, you're not really going to get anywhere. So my name is Katie Stackwitz. I'm the business lead of Citra Circuits.
And I'm Richard McCann. I'm a mentor with the business and media team. And we'll jump into our first slide here. I want to start off by telling you, yes, you can raise a lot of funds. I sat in one of these workshops in 2012. We had just raised $35,000 that year, a big jump from $20,000. And I was so proud of what we had done. And I had a mentor, the lead regional director of Northern California, tell us that 359 Hawaiian kids had raised $225,000 that year. And I went, no way. There's no way that they could have raised $225,000. I do not believe it. And now we stand 6 years later, that our team has quadrupled in size, but our fundraising has gone to almost $200,000 in that time, because we took very specific steps in order to reach out to our sponsors and to our parents in order to greatly increase the amount of funds that we have generated. And you can also do that with your team. Madera, the Madtown Robotics, is now up to $125,000 that they've raised this year because they have greatly increased their fundraising efforts over the last 3 years. So I want you to realize that it's not a big pie in the sky. In order to get to larger funds for your team, you can do it. Biggest thing that we learned, lessons that we learned, is focus on how much effort you put into each dollar that you're raising. You're not going to raise this kind of money with cookie sales or even with restaurant nights out. You're going to have to think about what kind of fundraising effort is going to generate the most amount of money per hour of effort that you put into this task. And so we go after corporate sponsors and large nonprofits in order to generate the kinds of funds that we need. One of the keys is getting community support. So we do a lot of media outreach. We've been in our local newspaper about 24 times a year. And that gives us a very high profile in this community. It helps us generate a lot of support for our program. We also have a lot of team involvement. So all of our team has been involved in reaching out to sponsors, identifying sponsors, bringing money in. It's not just 10 kids or 2 kids who do your fundraising. It's your entire team. So think about that, trying to get everybody involved. Parent support is also very important. We have our parents coming to our shop. They see what we do. We actually have in October a parent barbecue where we come in, we feed them, and we get them to sign pledge forms in order to find out what kind of funds we can raise. Since we started doing that, we doubled the amount of money per student that we raise out of parent pledge forms. And finally, we reach out to the local service clubs. We do a lot of presentations to the Kiwanis and Rotary clubs in our community, and we use the fundraising mechanisms that they have. For example, our Rotary has a raffle ticket ring that we raise for. Those are the kinds of things that we've learned, opportunities. And now Katie's going to talk more specifically about how we go through the steps that we take to go through and raise these kinds of funds. So, actually, I guess this is mine, isn't it?
Do you
I'm sorry. Yes, I forgot. I forgot that I split this into 2 slides. I had so many lessons to learn that I actually took 2 slides to do it. So we also learned the most important lesson: retaining the sponsors you have. To them, keep them involved. Last year, 7% of our sponsors. So that is the kind of effort that you don't have to generate new ones. It's much easier to keep the ones that you have. Also, keeping track of your progress during the year of who you've contacted, what money you've collected, who you've sent thank you messages to. Keep track of everything that you are doing with sponsorship so that you're sure that you've got all your bases covered. And finally, get your sponsors into your shop, watch the students, have them watch the students working on the robot. That's one of the most important things of generating sponsor interest. Twice we've had very large sponsors come in and say, whoa, I didn't know you were doing this. Here's a very big check. And so it's really important in order to get your sponsors involved. So with that, now I'm done and Katie can take over.
So that was just a brief overview of what we've learned over the years. The majority of this presentation is going to be focused on sponsorships because we found that is the best way to get a lot of money for, like Richard said, not little effort, but it's a balanced money to effort ratio. So we're putting in a good amount of effort and we're getting in a good amount of money from it. So next slide. The first step always is budgeting. We had a budgeting and managing a budget workshop last night. If any of you went to that, if you didn't, it's going to be uploaded to our YouTube very shortly, so you can check that out. I'm just going to go over this very briefly, and I'm mainly going to focus not on the expense portion, but on the income portion, which is what we're looking at with fundraising. So it's very important to, if you're not a rookie team, look at what you did in previous years or even what other teams have done who are in a similar situation to you, whether that's location-wise or like size-wise with respect to number of members on your team, amount of parent support, etc. And look at what their budgets are, look at their fundraising plans and sort of base it off of them and then what you've done in years past. So say okay, last year we got $9,000 from sponsors. This year, we added 2 more people to our team that are going to be able to help. So we're expecting to get maybe 10,000 to get another sponsor in there. So you go through like sponsors, grants, parents, and then any other fundraisers are sort of the 4 main categories. And you go through, see how much you expect to make realistically in each category, total it, and then that's going to be your budget for the year. It doesn't do you any favors to overestimate yourself, to say like $50,000 in sponsorships, easy. You're budgeting, you need to be realistic, and if anything, a little bit pessimistic. What could go wrong? What if this company that sponsored us last year and they seemed really interested? Well, let's take a look at their financial state right now. How are they doing? Are they still going to be able to sponsor us? Do you think they'll be able to sponsor us more? Or if they're not doing so well, they might have to sponsor us less or not at all. So doing research and doing a realistic budget is the first big step. So the next step is planning and searching for your sponsors. Like I said, doing your research is probably one of the most crucial things that you can do because it makes you look professional and it optimizes the time of not only you, but whoever you're going to contact. So if you look up like STEM company, when I typed in STEM, they thought I was talking about plants, and it has absolutely nothing to do with science and mathematics, and they have absolutely no interest in sponsoring me. Making sure that you know as much as possible about your sponsor before you even write up your first email is absolutely crucial. So part of this is making sure you know who you're going to contact and writing it all down. One of the things that our team does is we have this huge spreadsheet that just has all of our sponsors ever from any year, what year they sponsored us, how much they gave us, contacts, secondary contacts. Sometimes we even have third contacts. We have very detailed notes on, are they likely to respond? How often do they respond? What are they most interested in? So what part of our program do we want to, show to them? Do we want to show them like, hey, look at all this cool outreach that we're doing to other teams? We've started a couple of, youth teams, and, maybe they're really interested in youth education. So that could be a really good thing to show them. Maybe they're interested in high school education. Then you want to know that you're going to have to show them that they should be interested in your team and how your team is teaching its students to become leaders and innovators. So once you have all of this information, you've researched every sponsor, and you have a good list of people that you're going to contact and people that you probably shouldn't contact, then it's time to actually start reaching out to your sponsors or potential sponsors. Almost always, we start by contacting our sponsors through an email. Whether it's a returning sponsor or a new sponsor, we contact them through a professional, well-written email. Definitely 100% have your students, if any students are on the fundraising sub-team, at the very least sign their name on the email, because if it's a well-written professional email, companies like to see that it comes from students and not from adults. It sends off a better image of, students are the ones doing the work, students are the ones pushing this. That being said, if adults generally have, more contact just from being in the workforce, so, if your parent knows someone or is friends with someone who works in this company and they're willing to sponsor, then, your parent, if they're involved with the team, can then be the contact for that. But generally, it's a lot better to have students sending out the emails than it is to have parents sending out the emails. One of the reasons we don't start out by calling our sponsors, which I know some people do, is that it can seem unprofessional and it seems sort of like a spam call or a telemarketer, just calling someone and asking for money. Also, a lot of the time when you call people, they're not there, they're out of the office, they're on vacation, they've stepped out. If students are the ones calling, people work during school hours, so it's really hard to find a time that you can call them while you're not in school. And in general, when we have called people, it's either, we have to leave them a message or they're just straight up not interested. Such that our response rate from calls. Really, really important. I cannot stress this enough. When you are reaching out, it is very likely, especially if it's a new sponsor, someone who hasn't worked with you before, that they're not going to reply the first time. They might not reply the second time. They might not reply the third time. They might not reply the 14th time you send them an email, and that's okay. At some point, you have to realize that the sponsors that you're contacting are they're very busy. They have a million things that they're doing, and sponsoring a robotics team that they may or may not know much about is not on the top of their priority list. You just have to be realistic about it. Unless they send you an email or they call you back and say, thank you, I appreciate your professionalism. Unfortunately, we are unable to sponsor you at this time, or we are just, we are not interested in sponsoring your team. Keep contacting them. Our team has contacted sponsors, I want to say up to 10 times before we got them to respond. And when they did respond, they usually say, oh, I'm so sorry. The person you were emailing before, unexpectedly left the company, and there's no way we could have known that. Or we just missed your email the first 9 times you sent it, but thank you for sending it this 10th time, because this time we got it, and we'd love to sponsor you. So keep contacting sponsors, even if it's just a quick follow-up and things that said, hey, just wanted to check up and see if this is still, and see if you'd still be interested in sponsoring our team. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Simple as that. Hopefully, after you keep telling them, they'll respond and either say,
no, I'm sorry, we're not able to sponsor you, or yes, we'd love to sponsor you. Your program sounds great and fantastic, and I absolutely love what you're doing. Really hope it's the latter. That's part. So then you want to, and this sort of goes back to step 2 with the planning, is you need to have a set way to respond to these sponsors. So if they've said that, we're going to sponsor you, we're going to give your team $1,000 this year. So you said, okay, if we have sponsors that are going to give us $1,000, what is, what do we need to give them in return? So your relationship with your sponsors can't just be one way. It can't just be them giving you money and you saying, cool, thanks, bye, and then just spending your money on whatever you want and never talking to them again until the next time that you want money. That's not how it works. You have to, one of the things that we do is we have sponsorship levels, and I know this is pretty common, but I just want to reiterate because it's very important, is that for certain levels of sponsorship and donations, you have a rising number of benefits. So, a sponsor gives you $500 and, okay, we'll put your name on our t-shirt. A sponsor gives you $1,000, okay, we'll put your name on our robot. A sponsor gives you $2,000, and, okay, we'll put your name on our website, we'll put your name on our t-shirt, we'll put your name on our robot, and we'll give you personalized tours or any other ideas that you may come up with. Be creative. The best ideas are ones that not only show your sponsor that you appreciate them, but show that they are actively helping you